Yo, what's up YouTube? This is your boy Lord Fader coming at you with a video. It's really one of my first videos on my channel, Lord Fader's Perspective. And this is a channel where I give my perspective on, what's going on, and a lot is going on right now with the coronavirus and whatnot. And I just want to say that I think that there's more than meets the eye here. As you'll come to find out by watching my videos, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist. Not a bit, I am a major conspiracy theorist. But just because something is a conspiracy does not mean that it is a theory. If you'll look back in history, you'll find that every time we have a crisis or something like that, the government or official news outlets or whatever it may be, they never give you the real story, real time. And I found that a lot of the time you watch YouTube, which is a great platform for just general people to get on and have a message about something. Sometimes you get kernels of truth there where you might not get it otherwise. Now, I don't subscribe to a particular sector of YouTube, but me being black, people will probably say and I will be lumped into the black sector of YouTube. YouTube has no sectors, it's an open platform. But people like to categorize and divide, and they're gonna do that. So one of the things I wanted to say was, when we're being curfewed and quarantined to stay inside, something else is going on. If you look back in the past at things like the Hegelian dialect, these are things that, Weishaupt and all these people adhered to when they first started what would become the Illuminati. That's where you create a crisis and then you drum up fear using that crisis when you already had a solution in the other hand. So you look like the hero. And an example of this, that one that we can remember that may be in maybe not recent history, but in history, is September 11th. I can remember September 11th going down, and I remember gas prices were, 120, maybe up around 188 in some places. After that happened, we went to war, of course, in the Middle East. Gas went up to $4, $5, some places $6, $7 a gallon. Stayed there for a while, and we were all crying misery, which we should have, because it was costing us so much to get to work. Some people, in fact, that getting to work was actually more expensive than they could afford to do. So that was one thing. Then I noticed that when they dropped prices back down, when they stabilized around $2.80, $3. And they stayed there for a long time. So now it depends on what kind of gas you use. You probably see gas around $2 or whatnot. Now, not during this current pandemic. Once again, it's lowered. And after the pandemic, of course, everybody used the excuse that they need to make their money back, and it's going to go really high. And when it comes back down, it's not going to ever come down to price levels that we see right now. Okay. All these are just small examples of what's going on. And you can choose to believe what you want to believe. What I'm saying is that, the government is a system. So the people who represent you don't truly represent you. They only try to convince you of this to get elected. But there's a system that they enter. And even if they wanted to do right by the people that they represent, they would be, dealt with. One person that got dealt with was President Kennedy. He got dealt with. He went to rural Mississippi, rural Alabama, and he actually looked at the conditions of some black people in the 60s, and I believe it touched his heart. He also wasn't happy with the current monetary system that we're on, which this monetary system is illegal. But that's neither here nor there. So when he got back from his soul-changing trip, he was going to institute some of the things that the system was not willing to allow. Because the system will always have to have people at the bottom, people on the top, and they don't really like people in the middle. So the assassination of Kennedy, I don't know who did it. I just know why. They did that to send a message to anybody in government that you can be touched. And if you think about it, they exploded his head right next to his wife. It just as easily could have been her. So it sent a message really to anybody who's going to be a president in the future. Play the game, stay within the system, and we'll give you your play points, we'll give you your script basically, and you can do what you want to do, but you need to stay within that script. So when people get mad at President Bush, President Reagan, President Trump, President Obama, remember, it's all a script. None of those people can change the system. And the system moves slowly. The system moves through generations. And the trade-off is, if I join this system, well, I'm taken care of. If you've never seen the documentary, I believe it's called Confessions of an Economic Hitman, look that up. It's a microcosm of the system and how they deal with individuals that either choose to join or refuse to join the system. So, in a nutshell, you are ostracized and your character's assassinated. If that doesn't work, maybe some of your family members are targeted. If that doesn't work, then you're eliminated. So basically, I just want to tell everybody to understand and keep their head up and start paying attention to things that are happening in this world that affect you, and yet we sit back and do nothing. And most of it comes from ignorance, and most of it comes from people thinking that just because somebody has a position in government or your local, your state government, that they have your best interest in heart. They don't have your best interest in heart, and even if they do, they can't change anything anyway. So we have to change it. The power truly lies with the people. I mean, I think Thomas Jefferson alluded to something like a government should be afraid of its people and not the other way around. See, situation we have here in America is we're armed by the Constitution. As long as we are, we're a threat. I'm not saying we possess the ability all at once to overthrow the government, but we do have the numbers. But we would lose so many people in doing that it might not even be worth it. But it does give them pause when they start to enact these policies. So they have to do it by sleight of hand. It's like a magician. And speaking of magician, magic is real. Now, I know when I say that, people are gonna say, this dude right here, he crazy, he believe in everything. No, magic is real, it's just not what you think it is. Basically, in order for a spell to work, you must be shown the spell. After you're shown the spell, if you don't recognize it for a spell, then you're under it. This is evident in clothing brands. All of these sigils or signs or insignias that are placed on everything that we have a dual and triple meaning. They have a real meaning, they have a occult meaning, and sometimes they even have another meaning. So when you are using Apple products, what you don't understand is that that product is a Luciferian product. And I'm gonna tell you how. It's Luciferian in that it's an apple and it has a bite out of it. Notice that. Okay, what supposedly did the devil offer Eve and Adam in the Garden of Eden? Offer them fruit, which is represented by that Adam. Don't represent it by that apple, which is don't eat of this apple or you will die. That's what God told them. So what Satan said is, hey, you eat of this apple, you could be as God, knowing good from evil. Technology was born right then and there. So that's a sigil which you are under because you believe in that technology, your iPhone, your iPad, Apple TV, MacBook. You believe in that more than you do any type of spirituality, any type of God. That shows that you don't submit, you rebel. And that's what the whole situation is about. What do you submit to? What do you rebel against? We submit to Luciferian things, and sometimes these things are really, really, really veiled, and you don't realize what they are. But there's no excuse, because you live in the information age. You can find out. So that is one of my perspectives, and I know I'm rambling. I'm new to it. I'm just starting it off, but everybody's confined to their home. But one thing you'll find out about me is I never leave my home anyway. There's nothing out there that interests me. So I stay at home. I dabble in music. If you want to hear any music that I've done, you go to www.lordfader.biz, and there you can sample any of the music that I do. It would be nice if you would buy a song, buy an album, and support independent people. When I do music and I rhyme, I do it from the perspective of truth. I don't glorify niggification, which is, in my mind, one of the worst things that could have happened to black people is that we don't necessarily have a culture. You know, we have what's called degeneracy, and we call it a culture, and there'll be more videos on that later. But if you really want to hear somebody speaking from truth, that I believe that if you're gonna have hip hop, which is music which sways people, which influences people in their behavior, then I would just like to be a counterbalance to most of the things that are out there. Because people are benefiting from placing ideas and themes in your head that are destructive to you. And if you live the lifestyle that these people are telling you to live, then it's all gonna come to ruin, or you might not even live long enough to even figure that out. This was a lesson that Tupac and Biggie had to learn, and they learned it the hard way because they didn't make it, and they glorified things that were detrimental to them and detrimental to the black community, and now they're not here. And they're not the only ones. It continues to happen. So, like I said, that's my perspective. You want to hear some real music? You know, I'll be playing some throughout this rant, because that's basically what it is. And I'll end it with a song that you can go purchase once again on my website, but you can also purchase other works that I've been involved in. Deeply Rooted, Deep Thought is an album that me and my friend Too Easy put out. Too Easy is a wonderful vocalist and a wonderful writer. And he's a younger man. I'm an old man, he's a young man. And he has a real great perspective. He's educated, and he's the kind of black man you need to be. You can strive to be like, I should say. So that's available on all music platforms if you want to go get it. It's called Deep Rooted, and the album title is Deep Thought. So I'll leave you with that. Take care of yourselves, and realize that it's peace and love that guide the universe. I'm out.